bag, Louis bag, Gucci bag, Gucci bag, Birkin bag, she in a bag, she drip, she swag, never mad, she glad, Louis bag, she in a bag.
And we're back. I've already filled in my eyebrows off camera, so I'm just going to go right into carving out that shape and concealing my lid with my P.Louise eyeshadow base in the shade Rumour 5. And I'm taking that on a Zoeva 144 concealer brush just to mask out the shape of my eyebrow and also put a base over my lid so that my shadows can stick to it. And while this shade may look like it's kind of light for my skin tone, it's actually a perfect tone for my eyeshadow's true colors to pop. And I'm just going to pat that on to set it instead of using a translucent setting powder, and I'll allow my eyeshadows to grab onto it and set the base, and then I will have the true tones of those shades pop with my eyeshadow look. After putting on that base, I'm going to go in and mark out my eyeshadow shape using my Sephora Collection makeup tape. And I'm just going to go from just beneath my outer V of my eye to the tail of my brow bone. And this is going to help keep my eyeshadow focused in a certain area and give me a winged out shape once I take that tape off. Next, going into my Juvia's Place Magic palette, I'm actually taking the shade Ify, which is a deep violet shade, and I'm going in with my deepest crease color first and packing that on with a dense brush, and then I'm going to lightly buff the edges of that color with a more fluffy brush, and then I'll do sort of a reverse blending motion with the rest of my colors. Now moving on to my Masquerade palette by Juvia's, I'm taking this warm purple shade called Zobo, and I'm actually going to use that on a bullet brush to buff out around that crease color. And I'm just going to add more warmth to the transition area just above the crease, and I'm also going to bring in some of those purple tones to complement the blues that I'll be using later. And once I did this, I actually noticed that my crease wasn't deep enough, so I went back in with Ify on that pencil brush and darkened the color in there just by packing on more of the shadow, and then blended that out a bit more with a fluffy blending brush wherever I saw fit. After that, I went into my Zulu palette by Juvia's Place, and I actually took this berry tone red color. It's kind of a pinkish red, and I don't believe it has a name in this palette, but I took that on a tapered blending brush, which is more fluffy than the other brushes I've been using previously, and I buffed that throughout the transition area of my eye just to give a light wash of that color and let it sort of fade out toward the makeup tape as well as toward the brow bone. Now for this look, I did want to give myself a pop-in brow bone highlight, so I actually went into my Ofra Cosmetics highlighter in the shade Blissful, which is sort of a cool tone highlighter. It's more of like a rosy highlighter, the undertone of it, and I felt like it would go with this cool tone makeup look, so I took that on a small brush and concentrated it just under the brow bone, and then I went back in with that pinkish red color and kind of buffed the two together so that there wasn't a harsh line between that packed on highlight and my blown out transition shade. I threw on a half cut crease off camera with my 0.5 base, and then I decided to go into the Saharan palette from Juvia's Place. As you can tell, this is my current favorite for eyeshadows, and I took the black Chad shade to deepen up my outer V and buff that into the half cut crease where that concealer kind of ends. That way I have a nice darkened up lash line and have a good transition. And then I decided to go back into that palette and take the shade Iman, which is a frosty, cool blue-white. and I went ahead and took that shade along the cut of my crease for a nice contrast between that and the deep violets and purples that are in my crease. I made sure to concentrate that light metallic shade more toward the inner corner of my eye to keep with that winged out eye shape that I was going for, and then I blended out the edges going toward the lid so that there would be a nice blend with the next shade of eyeshadow that I was going to go in with. So for the blue on my lid, I'm actually taking this MyoMakeup pigment, and it doesn't have a name, but it's actually more like a true cobalt blue, and I absolutely love the pigmentation of this product. And I just took that on I guess this is a packing brush, shading brush, a dense brush that I can just pack on that pigment and get a true payoff for that color. It's a loose pigment, so you can pack on as much as you like as long as the base is able to tag on to it. I popped on my favorite gel liner, my Inglot 77 black gel liner to my lash line, and I didn't do a wing this time because I wanted that taped off eyeshadow shape to be the wing for my look, kind of like a Smokey wing. So I went ahead with an angle brush and just applied the gel liner over the lash line and buffed it out and smoked it out toward the edge of my outer V. Then I went in with my Lash Kitty lashes in the style Hypnotic, popped those on off camera, and then I came back to start on my complexion. So for foundation for this look, I went in with my Maybelline SuperStay foundation in the shade 356 Warm Coconut, and I buffed that all over the face with my Sigma flat kabuki brush, and I made sure I got a nice even coat of that before going in with my concealer. And for a highlighting concealer today, I went in with my ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Deep Golden 60. I think the numbers for these concealers changed, but the website will say which one was previously known as Deep Golden 60. So I went ahead and applied that to my under eye as well as the center of my face per usual, and I blended that out with a damp beauty blender. Now to set those highlight areas, I actually went in with my Maybelline Fit Me Loose powder this time in this, I think this is the shade Deep 35 powder. It's a nice neutral shade perimeter of my face, as well as to dust away some of that Maybelline Fit Me powder that was left over from my bake. And to contour and bring a little bit more dimension to my face, I went in with my usual Black Radiance True Complexion contour palette in the shade medium to deep, and I just took the contour shade as well as that center shade in the palette and mixed those two together to go ahead and chisel out my cheekbones and the perimeter of my face and the jawline and all of that. So I went ahead and did all of that, and that was enough for getting the complexion right, and moved on to blush and highlight afterwards. To stay consistent with my brow bone highlight and the cool tone of this makeup look, I went back into my Ofra Blissful highlight, and I just applied that to the high points of my face with a tapered highlighter brush. And afterwards, I went in with some blush to bring more rosy tones back into my cheeks. This time I went in with my Nicka K blush duo in the shade Indio 02. And I took more of that peachy rosy tone and applied that to my cheeks and brushed it back toward my temples. And then after that, I went ahead and melted all of those powders together and gave myself more of a skin-like appearance again by using my MAC Fix Plus spray. After this, I finished off my lower lash line to complete the look using those same tones that were in my crease, and then I came back to do my lips, first lining my lips with a dark brown lip pencil. I then decided to go in with a liquid lip from the L'Oreal Infallible ProMatte collection, and this is in the shade Cowboy. And then I wanted a glossy finish, so I went over that with a nice pinky nude from the Bold brand, and this is in the shade Britannia. And that's all for the look, so I hope you enjoy. Leave me a comment down below so we can discuss this look and talk about our favorite products, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!